Okay, so I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I don't want to waste anybody's time, so I want to dig right in. I'm going to be reading from notes for the most part because there's just too much information for me to remember. And if I don't follow notes, then I get lost on tangents all over the place. So for the past, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and what I see happening and why I'm investing in a tower garden. The past 3 years have been a serious learning curve for me in almost every way, as I'm sure many can attest to. I've spent hundreds of hours trying to wrap my head around what on earth is happening to global operations, food supply chains, food security, and what exactly does that mean? So I put together a few points that I think perhaps you would benefit from hearing as you consider another step in growing your own food. Number one, as a whole, our world, and most certainly our food supply, has become very centralized. It has been like that for decades. We get a vast majority of what we eat from other countries. The states in the US are the same. As I wrote in a post this morning, when I grew up in small town Saskatchewan, we ate seasonally. Mom preserved, they grew gardens, but now our produce and our vegetables are coming from other countries and across the world. There are many things that are currently going wrong with that setup, and an increased potential for disturbances in that setup is already here, actually. Number two, in the Netherlands, that Dutch state has announced that they plan to seize some 3,000 privately owned farms by forcing them to sell their land to the state and then just shut them down. The government has estimated that in total, some 11,200 farms will have to close in order to meet their new climate goals. Another 17,600 farms will have to significantly reduce their livestock numbers. To me, that's just absolutely insane. This is climate tyranny in action. The Netherlands is the second largest exporter of food in the world, and are placed first, actually, as exporters of food and vegetables. Many believe this is a test for other countries to follow suit. And Canada is already a lot like the Netherlands in moves to control farmers under the guise of climate change. Number three, vertical gardening is the wave of the future. Many corporations are in full force development. They're bagging and tagging and tracing their produce. They'll know where it came from, where it went, and soon which customer bought it, and from where. I don't know about you, but I'd like to be ahead of that curve personally and grow my own food to the best of my ability. Tower farms actually are the wave of the future. Last week, a report on CKOM, a local radio station, stated that food prices in Canada will continue going up in 2023. They're predicting an increase of about 7%. I don't know why, but I think that's lowballing it. They went on to say vegetables are expected to see the largest increase in price. There was a recent headline, and I kind of followed this story over the last couple of years as well, that the future of vaccines may look more like eating a salad than getting a shot in the arm. Already this past year and a half, a group named Medicago out of Eastern Canada had their plant-based vaccine passed by our federal government. Plant-based mRNA we're told is the future as well. Again, I want to know what's in my food, and a tower garden for me is another step in that direction. What we used to not even give a second thought to is rapidly becoming a topic that either you pay attention to now or you'll be forced to pay attention to later. And the later it gets, that's when everybody else is going to be figuring it out as well. Sorry, I got some doorbells. As I found out, as many people I follow and much of what I study, people point to disastrous famines in part of the world due to the chaos unraveling globally as we speak. Will that happen here? You know what? I have no idea. In a land so rich and resource-filled, it's hard to imagine our beautiful Canada, but I am concerned, deeply concerned. And I've also found out in my circles, the idea is to create what they call equality globally. You'll hear that word thrown out around a lot lately. But that doesn't mean lifting third world countries into first world status. No, it means taking rich countries like ours down to third world country status, unfortunately. I don't believe that when I didn't actually believe that when I first heard it, but everything I see and hear these days does support that agenda. So, given all of those things that I just talked about, and actually the list could be endless, I tried to figure out what I could do personally. The bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, states the very basic needs to be taken care of first. Food is one of those very basic 4 needs. I've always had a garden, but aside from preservation, what could I be doing? Year-round growing is one thing, but you know what? I live in Saskatchewan. It's cold here 8 months of the year. Over the past year, I have tried 3 different types of tower gardens. My main goal was to find something more economical that would do the same job as the best towers out there, but at a lower cost. The result, as a line that we've heard all before, is you get what you pay for. The Juice Plus tower, easily, I was using the Flex model, easily won that competition. So let's get at it. Last week, December 5th, I did a Zoom call with a new friend of mine who has 2 Juice Plus towers, one of each, the home model and the Flex model. So I'm just going to replay the most important parts of that call. And then after that's done, I'm going to open up the floor to you guys, see if you have any questions. I've also have done up a PDF with all of the information I've been gathering from questions I've been asked and that I've heard on Zoom calls and even just on posts and comments. So if you stay here until the end, I'm going to get that PDF to you. Everything you wanted to know about tower gardens, basically, but we're afraid to ask. So if you're all still with me, I'm going to just share my screen, hopefully. And let's have a look at this. It's only a few minutes. It's only about 14, 15 minutes. Let me know, ring the bell, whatever you have to do to get my attention if you can't hear this.
Around. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight, wherever you are from, mostly from Saskatchewan, I believe. My name is Stephanie. I am going to give you a very quick overview of tower gardens. The presentation will probably take about 20 minutes plus some time at the end for some Q&A. Feel free to add your questions in the chat, and then we can answer them at the end of the presentation. Okay, my story, why I love tower gardens. I actually started indoor gardening in April 2020. I saw a need during the pandemic to take control of my food, where it was coming from, who was touching it, how far did it travel, who was actually, what was on it, what was being sprayed, and of course, was I going to find it in stock? That was a huge thing. I've always been an outdoor gardener, but I found that because I live in Canada, yes, I live in BC, although I'm a prairie girl, born and raised in Saskatchewan, I cannot grow year round. I mean, we have snow on the ground. I saw the tower gardens and knew this is what I needed to have fresh produce year round. Plus, as Audrey said, with the climbing price of groceries, an article came out this morning in the Canadian press. Families next year are expected to pay $1,065 more for groceries in 2023. Oh my gosh. The last 2 years, food prices have increased by 16%. I know that what I'm doing every day, and I'm doing everything I possibly can now to combat the high price of inflation, the tower gardens are basically running on pennies a day. So a tower garden, who are they for? They are basically for everyone. It's so simple to grow your own garden, indoors or outdoors. Anyone can successfully garden. even if you do not have a green thumb. So tower garden farming, well, you can think big, like this one, the Tower Garden Farm on the left. This is a brand new tower garden farm that recently opened in Quebec. Or you could think smaller, like 1 or 2 gardens. You can start to grow, and trust me, you will love it. You can have live plants in your kitchen, your spare bedroom like I do, or in your basement. I actually have another tower garden growing in my basement. It's so easy. Plus, you don't need to pick.
I lost audio. Did anyone else?
Yes, I lost it as well. It's Coralie.
Is everybody saying they lost audio? You can't hear the video? No? Did you at the beginning?
Yes, at the beginning.
Well, that's interesting. Hang on a second. Thanks for saying something.
Tower Garden's state-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better tasting,
It's back for me.
fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your tower garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden the healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce.
Okay, so here's another very short video on a 4-week time lapse. All right, okay. So let's talk about why use a tower garden. It is definitely the future of growing. I actually had to explain this to my husband, how it worked, and now he's completely on board. It uses 98% less water. There's no water bands on it. It takes up 90% less space, as you can see. It's vertical, up and down. Than a soil garden. It produces 30% more yield. This behind me, all the time, produces, grows 3 times faster than a soil garden, and is completely safe and nutritious, is very sustainable. you need to ask yourself, where is your food coming from? How safe is your food? How many herbicides and pesticides are sprayed on our produce? Keep bugs away. With a tower garden, we don't add herbicides or pesticides. All the plants are grown without. Here's a great question to think about. How many times have you thrown out that piece of lettuce, or I should say that head of lettuce, or that spinach that has a risk of salmonella? I know there's been a few recalls. How many times have you gone into the grocery store and there are no greens? This actually happened here in Kelowna last week at a very large grocery store. We also need to think about the depleting quality of our soil and the food we are eating. Our food is actually being shipped from all over the world to our grocery stores, and oftentimes it's picked before it's even ripe. The moment it's picked or it's cut, it loses its nutrients. We may not see a vegetable until it arrives at our house until weeks later. Think about green bananas. Our soil is definitely not as safe as it was for our grandparents. The tower garden nutrients. Some people may ask, what are we using? Our nutrients are actually made from all natural, inorganic, and ionic minerals from deep in the earth, like nitrogen and phosphorus, which naturally occur in the soil. Okay, this is something we need to discuss. What about the price of food? We have seen a substantial increase in the price of fresh vegetables and fruits, and it's probably going to keep going up and up. With a tower garden, food costs are not increasing, and what I love is that you can grow all year round. In Canada, our growing season is quite short, March to maybe September or October. You can have a winter blizzard outside and still have fresh produce. I also want to mention that tower garden is made, our tower gardens are made from USDA approved UV stabilized food grade plastic. What this means is that it is chemically resistant, it won't leach harmful chemicals, and will withstand the environment it is used in. The plastic is also made with, there's no dyes or recycled materials that are harmful to human health. And that is a huge thing for me. Okay, so when you go on vacation, how many people have done this? You go on vacation and forget to have someone come in and water your garden or water your flowers, and you come home and I know we've all done it. Well, I'll tell you, they are self-sufficient, self-watering, and completely sustainable. It is definitely a plug-and-play system. I can go away for 2 weeks and no one has to look after it, and that's what I like. So what's on your wish list to grow? Tower gardens will grow just about any plant that grows above ground. For example, and look at your herbs, your parsley, your thyme, your basil, cilantro, dill, rosemary, stevia, chives, flowers, any of your lettuces, your vegetables like cucumbers, beans, eggplant, okra, spinach. As you can see the picture there, tomatoes, yes, they grow tomatoes, peppers, celery, peas, broccoli. They grow watermelon, cantaloupes, tomatoes, strawberries. They grow like all of this stuff, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see it grow. Okay, grow your own seedlings. Yes, there are some seedlings. These are some seedlings actually that were started in Rockwool. Choose organic or heirloom seeds and plant them. In a few weeks or less, you are ready to plant into your tower garden. Tower garden uses a growing medium called Rockwool, designed specifically for tower garden growing. It is an eco-friendly rock fiber that is formed by spinning materials together. Okay, so just gonna move the phone here quick enough. Okay, so there are a couple different options of tower gardens available. Depending on what you're looking to grow, we can recommend the best one for you. The Tower Garden Flex on the left, that's the one with the green reservoir. That's actually the one I have here behind me. It has a 20-gallon reservoir and is more sturdy than the home unit. This can be used both inside and outside and is recommended for your larger plants such as your tomatoes, your cucumbers, your squash, your eggplant, your peppers, etc. The Tower Garden Flex comes with everything you need to begin growing up to 20 plants or 8 more with an extension. The Tower Garden Home, so this is the unit that's on the right. Okay, I've got some feedback here. Audrey, can you place your machine on mute, please? Okay, let's try that. Okay, so the Tower Garden Home, the one that's on the right, I actually have that downstairs, which I can show you. This is a new system that came out in 2021. It's a bit more of a sleek system. It's about 2 feet round compared to the Flex, which is about 3 feet round. There are 16 large ports and 16 smaller ports, plus a wonderful water meter float that shows you when you need to add more water. The smaller ports are recommended to grow your microgreens, herbs, and smaller flowers. Okay, so here is the Tower Garden pricing. The Canadians, which is, I think we have just Canadians on, the Tower Garden Home System, it's a 13-gallon reservoir, so that's your sort of your middle one, is $870 Canadian. They also have a microgreens extension kit you can purchase for 147 Canadian and a support cage for $105. The Tower Garden Flex, which is a 20-gallon reservoir, the one I have behind me, is $810 Canadian. If you wish to purchase an extension to grow an extra 8 plants, so that's what I have, that is 122 Canadian. We also have a family garden system that is 3 tower gardens, or a community tower garden. That was the Tower Garden Farms, which is a garden of 12. Okay, so right now in Canada, we have a holiday special going on both the Tower Garden Home and the Flex unit as a bundle. So you purchase the Flex unit and the support cage, or you purchase the home unit and the support cage and you receive $20 off. The Flex unit bundle is $900 or $75 a month. The home unit is $955 or $79 a month. Okay, so I want to tell you this. You can purchase your Tower Garden on an interest-free payment plan for 12 months. Or you can pay all in full. There's absolutely no penalty whatsoever if you choose to purchase on an interest-free payment plan. That's how I did it. And after 12 months, you completely own the Tower Garden. You know, if you have a big family, maybe you want to go with the Tower Garden family. This is absolutely a wonderful idea that the reason why I love this company. If you grow indoors, if you have a sunroom, you will still require the LED lights. Those are $416 or $34.67 per month. Okay, are you ready to start growing your own food? So I wanted to say thank you so much for coming tonight and for learning with us. We're here for questions. And thank you, Audrey, for
So that was just a few minutes of a video. If you guys don't mind, I've had a lot of questions about the microgreens and the smaller. So each section has 4 net pots in it that you can grow 4 different plants. The microgreens, what they call the microgreen extensions, have 8 on them, and they're just a little bit of a different size, and they don't need one of the mesh pots. So a lot of people are asking about that. So I want to play just over a 1-minute video on that, and it'll also give you a little bit of a close-up of what the Tower Gardens look like.
Super excited today because we are finally launching our brand new microgreens extension kit for the Tower Garden. So what is a microgreens extension kit? It's a place where we can grow microgreens and baby greens and petite greens and small herbs. This is a hot new trend in cooking. People love the wide range of flavors and textures and colors. Down below is just a normal Tower Garden 5 pots tall. These pots are perfect for some of these larger plants that we use in our juicing and our salads and our cooking, right? Now, up above 5 pots, we are adding 32 plant sites onto 20. So this gives us 52 plant sites on the residential tower garden. It's really cool. By the way, this is a cube of rock wool. And we've got, again, 6 to 8 different types of lettuces in there. We just popped this in there a couple days ago. You can see those beautiful roots. This microgreen planters, these are square plant ports designed to receive a rock wool cube. And you just literally pop it in just like that. And within a couple days, they're rooting in and they're growing. And a week or two later, you're ready to harvest. We can actually cut off all these plants several times. Just a few days ago, I cut the kale back and it's already reflushed. It's quite beautiful. Now with this Encore mix, we want to go in and look for all these growing tips. It's very important. We don't want to cut those back. We want to cut all these beautiful leaves above that. So we identify where those growing tips are at. They're about 1.5 inches up from the rock wool. So I'm going to grab that whole cluster right there and just snip them right back.
Well, that was it. I guess that's all you get to see. Okay, so I hope that provided a little bit of insight. Answered a few of your questions anyway. There is another really good video, one of the inventors of the Tower Garden, touring a garden farm, and he goes through a lot of the plants that you can grow. If anybody wants to see, it's a little bit of a longer video, so I'm not going to play it today. I found it interesting because you could see what they actually look like, the different varieties and stuff. If anybody ever wants to see that, you let me know and I will forward you that link. I just want to say a couple of other things before we get into the Q&A. I put my email address and my website in the chat if anybody needs to get a hold of me, or of course you can send through Messenger. I cannot do a live tour of a tower garden that I have right now because the tower garden that I used in the trial is up the lake up north, about 2 hours north of here. And my brand new tower garden is on order and isn't here yet. So we'll get into shipping times a little bit later. I'll fill you in on that. I would have to say that for me, doing all this right now, this isn't about selling something for me. I didn't really need something to do. I didn't go looking to be a Juice Plus partner. I just wanted to grow food for the last 3 years. Well, 2 for sure. With all the disturbances, I'm thinking this is going to be trouble. And I wanted to get ahead of the curve. I think tough times are coming and I want to be part of the solution, not part of the drain. For me, largely it's about health, eating nutritious food for myself and anybody that I can share it with, greater food security, knowing where my food comes from. I also have a belief that either the greens aren't going to be in the stores over time, or the cost of it will be way out of reach for many, both of which I've seen happen already. And I'm a health coach, so these years have been stressful for everyone. I want to improve my health, mind and body, not to strain it some more. And nutrition, of course, is a big piece of that equation. So where do we order the tower gardens from? It's funny because as I started doing this, I was thinking, well, if I'm doing Zoom calls and doing posts about it, of course, people will know that I'm a Juice Plus partner, or they call it a partner. So if somebody decides that they want to order one, I'd be happy to talk to you more about it, or have a one-on-one phone call or messages, whatever that looks like, and I can send you any information that you need. If anybody is interested in a tower garden farm as an investment, I'd like to know that too, because it's something that I'm considering doing locally. And that's it. So from here, I'm going to stop the recording